Anyone who's interested in the world of tennis knows just how iconic Coach Nick Bollettieri was. He created some of the best players in the game that we know today. In today's video, we'll talk about Nick Bollettieri passing away, as was reported recently, and talk about his life and some of the iconic players that he coached. Buckle in, this one is going to be a tearjerker. First up, let's look at his death. The tennis superstar passed away at the age of 91. Steve Schulla, his manager, told us that he died at his Florida home after a series of health issues. Just last month, Schulla had to issue an official statement after rumors of Nick passing away started going about. He was still alive at that time. IMG Academy, which calls itself the world's leading sports education brand, also issued a statement regarding his death. The statement told us about Nick passing away, acknowledging him as a legendary tennis coach and the founder of the Nick Bollettieri Tennis Academy. They also said that Nick's academy served as the foundation for today's IMG Academy. The news of his death was announced on the 5th of December, Monday, by the Academy. Next up, let's look a little at his life. Nick was a man of many interests, and he did a lot throughout his life. From football, to studying law, to being an iconic tennis coach. He did it all. Did you know he was a football quarterback back when he was in high school? Yep, neither did we. He even served in the Army as a paratrooper after high school. After he was released from the Army 187th Airborne Division in 1957, he decided it was time for him to join a university and study law. Nick was a law student at the University of Miami for about 5 months. During this time, he thought it would be a good idea to make some money on the side, so he started teaching tennis on the North Miami Beach courts. He charged just $1.50 for a half-hour lesson back then. This was just the start, though. As he started getting more successful and recognized in the field, he started charging $6 for an hour-long tennis lesson. This was when he coached his first star students like Brian Gottfried, who rose to world number 3 in 1977. As his recognition grew, he became the prestigious Port Washington Tennis Academy co-founder. He started his academy in downtown Cleveland, Ohio, a while later. At this time, he started the academy with students living at his own house. Then, in 1980, Bollettieri borrowed $1 million from a friend to build a lavish tennis academy. What a journey. A man who never played tennis professionally went on to become one of the most highly paid tennis coaches in the world, and one of the most esteemed ones too. After he came on the ABC News program 2020, his fame skyrocketed. It was in this show that his trademark look got associated with him, bare-chested and with wraparound Oakley sunglasses. Following up, here's what else he did throughout his life. In 1987, he sold his academy to the founder of IMG Academy, Mark McCormick. In 1999, The Sporting Life listed him in their top 25 people who've influenced tennis in the past century. Then, in 2000, he was named one of the 50 most influential people in tennis by Tennis Magazine. He also got many different awards and titles throughout his life. In 1996, he published his first 2 biographies, My Aces and My Faults. His coaching methods were sometimes criticized for being too controversial, but no one can deny that he created some of the top players in the game from his academy. Tim Pernetti, president of the IMG Academy Bradenton, said that even in his last days of life, he was seen coaching young kids with the same energy and enthusiasm he had in his 20s. All throughout his life, Nick had a passion for the game, and it showed. He rose to fame in a way no one would have expected and became one of the most sought-out coaches in the world of tennis. Now, let's look at some of the tennis icons that he's coached in his life. First up, Andre Agassi. In the latter half of the 1980s, the world of tennis needed someone to revive the sport, and Andre Agassi came to the rescue. He brought a unique star appeal to the tennis courts, one that the world hadn't seen since Ellsworth Vines in the 1930s. Andre Agassi was coached by Nick Bollettieri and is one of his most well-known students to this day. It would be unfair to talk about one without talking about the other. He rose to number 1 in the tennis world very quickly, thanks to his swift blows on the tennis court. He's also an 8-time major champion and an Olympic gold medalist. Now that's impressive. Next up, Boris Becker, another former number 1 tennis player that the great Nick Bollettieri coached. He was pretty successful from the very start of his career, although it would be unfair to say he didn't work hard for it. He won the Wimbledon championships at the age of just 17. The German player saw a lot of success throughout his career, for which he thanked his coach Nick. He won 6 Grand Slam singles titles, 3 Wimbledon championships, and 2 Australian Opens, and 1 US Open. Those who watched him play were amused by how he incorporated the skills of a gymnast into his tennis games on the court. Skills such as power, balance, agility, precision, and mobility. Maybe these very skills are the reason for his insane success. What do you think? Up next, Jim Courier. Jim won the prestigious Orange Bowl in 1987 at the age of just 16, all thanks to the great coaching by Nick Bollettieri. Jim graduated from Nick's Tennis Academy, where he was roommates with none other than Andre Agassi. By the time the player was 22, he had reached the finals of all 4 majors, setting a record for the youngest person to accomplish this. This record still remains unbeaten to this day. During his time as a tennis player, he won a total of 4 majors, 2 French Opens, and 2 Australian Opens. All these came from games he played during 1991 and 1993. Only 7 players in the Open era have reached a major singles final at Melbourne, Paris, London, and New York, and guess what? Jim is one of them. Now that's something worthy of flexing, wouldn't you agree? His career was launched after he won an ATP tournament in Basel, Switzerland, back on October 9th, 1989. Not to mention Martina Hingis. Any sport is incomplete without talking about the incredible women that play it. Anyone who loves sports, and tennis in specific, would know just how amazing Martina Hingis is on the tennis court. And she has Nick Bollettieri to thank for it. He was her coach when she was just starting out. She's the first Swiss tennis player, male or female, to be ranked number 1 in the world. She was also the youngest person to hold this position, at the age of 16. Now that's something seriously impressive. Hingis won all 5 major titles, all before she was even 19. Can you believe it? She even won the doubles title at Wimbledon when she was just 15 years and 9 months old, making her the youngest person to ever do this. That's a record she holds to this day. After winning the 1997 Australian Open Singles Championship at 16 years and 3 months of age, defeating Mary Pierce, she became the youngest Aussie champion in history. She was also the youngest person to win a major junior title at the 1993 French Open. She won the title when she was just 12 years old. Finally, Monica Seles. Something funny that fans associated with Seles was that when playing, you didn't have to watch her to know that she was playing. You would hear her on the tennis court first. The noises she made on the court while playing, the grunts and shrieks, were just as iconic as her skill set. She's a former number 1 tennis player. She was coached by Nick Bollettieri back at the start of her career as a professional tennis player. From 1991 to 1993, Seles won 7 of 8 major singles finals she played. And she achieved all this before she was even 20. How cool is that? In 1991 and 1992, she was the world's number 1 ranked player. She was just 18 at this time, a time when most teenagers are planning their prom dresses. She became a professional tennis player at a very young age, when she was just 15 after she won her first tournament, the Virginia Slims of Houston. Talk about impressive. That's all we have time for in today's video. Which one of these players is your favorite? Let us know down in the comments section. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more. With all that said, as always, we'll see you in our next video.
Have these people here all wanting to get better.
Equipment has changed, rackets have changed, the balls have changed, and the physical aspect of the game has changed.
Helped IMG put hundreds of kids into college on a scholarship. And baby, that's what it's all about.